Hey everyone, I just wanted to make this quick video to walk you through the first essay and then hopefully answer any of the questions that you may have about it. So first thing, this essay one, this is our argumentative research paper proposal. Now this is the first of 3 essays in this course. So as I laid out on the 3 topics assignment, you'll be working with one topic from those 3 topics that you've already chosen, and you will work with this one topic for all 3 of your major essays. So this is the first of those 3 essays. In this essay, you will start investigating some basic research. You'll start looking at some arguments, and you'll develop your actual research plan, which you will then use for essay 2 and essay 3. So again, this is the same topic for all 3 essays. And this is something that, this is your major project for the entire semester. When we put it all together, all of the essays come out to 70% of your overall grade. So we do spend quite a bit of time on everything. So let's just take a quick look at what the actual assignment is, and then I'll show you some examples, and then hopefully I can address your questions quickly so that you know everything before you get started. So as I was just saying, you see here that each of these 3 essays builds upon each other. So again, it has to be the topic that was approved from your 3 topics exercise. Now, you can change your topics at this point. So let's say that on your 3 topics, you had identified one particular one you wanted to work with, but then after my feedback, you decided you don't want to work with that one. And at this point, that is absolutely fine. However, once we start moving into this essay, so once you have turned in this essay next week, you are locked into that topic for the rest of the semester. So really think carefully about the topic that you want to work with. And if you have any concerns or questions about it, feel free to reach out to me via Canvas Mail. So for this paper, you're writing an argumentative research paper proposal. So proposals have a very specific format. It's a little different than your typical essay in the sense that it's not a continuous essay. Rather, this is section driven, okay? So what this is, it's a 3 to 5 page essay in which you address the following information. Now, this should be a single-spaced essay, so again, a little different than your typical essay. And it will also, again, be put into sections rather than just a continuous paper. So we have right here in section 1, this is your basic research section. So you're going to use the databases to find 1 to 2 articles about your topic. I suggest starting with things like the databases like Opposing Viewpoints, CQ Researcher, or Credo Reference, but you are absolutely welcome to use any of the databases. So those are good starting points because they tend to provide good overview articles, but you're welcome to dive into some of the more specific databases for this. So the articles, the research that you find should identify the basics of the topic, so background information, current status, who's involved, but they don't need to go into heavy research detail at this point. You will complete that full research cycle during essay 2. Okay, so this just focus on finding 1 to 2 good background information sources. So in this section 1, you'll introduce the issue that you'll handle in your paper, and this should be written in 3rd person. You'll identify key concepts or specialized terminology or specific ideas that an average educated adult would not be familiar with. And then you'll end the section with your revised thesis statement. So based on any notes from your 3 topics, make your revisions to your thesis statement. So you can use the information that you started with in your 3 topics assignment as the starter for this section. However, remember this does need to be more fully developed with research, and it does need to be cited, MLA in-text citations, as well as a works cited page. Okay. Section 2, this is your research plan, and your research plan can be written in 3rd person. However, you can just continue in 3rd person as well. So in your research plan, you're first going to look at what is the information you already know, How are you going to back up your argument? What types of information do you need? What are your targeted keywords and phrases? So go back to that information literacy assignment and figure out what are all of your targeted keywords for those advanced Boolean searching. And then second part is to formulate a detailed list of research questions. So what exactly you need to find out about your topic. This should be detailed, and we'll look at an example of this in just a minute, because again, this will drive what you do in essays 2 and 3. And then finally, section 3, this is where you're going to develop in rough outline form your potential argumentative points and counter arguments, as well as your sub-ideas. Now, keep in mind this section 3, the argumentative points, they should come from you. Okay, so when we think about the purpose of an argumentative research essay, the actual argument, so the points that answer the why or the how of your thesis statement, they should come from you. So if my argument has to do that with, I'll just go with that baseball players who've been convicted or suspected of using PEDs should be eligible for the Hall of Fame. Okay, so then I turn it into a question. Why should they be eligible for the Hall of Fame? Well, my argumentative points have to answer that question. Okay, those points should be my ideas. They should not be ideas that I found in research. They should not be ideas that I found on the internet. You have to construct your own unique argument, because when we get to the end of this class, when you do your final essay, at least like 65 to 70% of the essay has to be your original writing, your original ideas. They shouldn't be points that I can just Google your topic and find those points on the internet. So in thinking about your argument, the more unique you make your thesis statement and the more personalized you make this paper, the better chances you're going to have at actually writing it, of getting your own unique voice in there. Okay, so this is a really important part. Now, let's take a quick look at what the paper should actually look like. So this is posted for you up on Canvas. So we have, make sure you get your MLA headers in there, and that's posted for you in that MLA handout from the our first module. Then you see that we have section 1, that he begins his essay by defining the different topics that are involved. He goes into what is needed to understand the debate. He goes into more of the topics themselves and what's behind it, so that historical perspective. Okay, and then he ends the section with his revised thesis statement. Section 2, you'll see that he goes through what it is that he already knows about it, and he defines what it is that he'll be looking for. And then you'll see he has a list of all of his research questions. So remember, this should be a detailed list of questions. It shouldn't just be a basic, 1 or 2 questions that you need to answer. This should really go into all of the specifics, everything that you think you'll need to find for your argumentative points. Think in terms of logos and pathos. Okay, so what types of supporting documents are you going to need to help you build those appeals to the rhetorical triangle? And then finally, we have section 3, and you'll see that he did not use a traditional outline form. And for this assignment, that is absolutely fine. You can lay it out how the sample one is, where it just starts with argumentative point, gives the point, and then gives details below. And he goes argumentative points 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you should have roughly 3 to 4 points at this point. And then also counter argument. Now, and then finally, you'll have your works cited for anything that you used in section 1. So if you have any questions that I haven't answered about this, you can go ahead and just shoot me a message on Canvas. But otherwise, go ahead, get started on this paper. We have a quick turnaround. Remember, this is our accelerated pace class. So this essay is due next Monday, and then we move into essay 2 immediately that week. Okay, so quick turnaround on these. If you have any questions, please contact me through Canvas. And for those of you who are coming from the 151 section, You do remember that we had a required Sage Center visit for all essays in there. For this class, they are not required until the final paper. However, I do highly, highly recommend that you leave yourself enough time to visit the Sage Center for a revising session. You should not turn in a rough draft of this paper. It should be a finalized paper that has been proofread, that has been revised and edited, and is being turned in as a final. All right, hopefully this answers all of your questions about the paper. But again, feel free to reach out through Canvas Mail, or you can give me a call during my student conference hours.